Continuation. Hello, dear friends. I just watched Zelensky's trip to Paris. There were more than 30 countries from Europe, and not only Europe. Canada was there, and other countries as well. Communiqué pleins of Ursula von der Leyen. And I just want to make a little explanatory video. I want to go back to where it all started. So you can look at the situation, see where we've ended up, and decide for yourself whether this could have been avoided. But most importantly, what to do next. We'll begin with archival footage of Gennady. Last name starting with M. YouTube often misinterprets his last name. And you all know him, but I'll say right away, he's not my hero. He had some inside information and some things, have taken on new meaning now. Let's go.
Hennady Hennadiovich, you stated, I'm reading, quoting, that Yushchenko, Baloga, and Yulianchenko received $1 billion from the Party of Regions for handing over power to Viktor Yanukovych. Did you?
But they handed it over for free.
And do you know this figure, $1 billion?
This figure, believe me. They said it on January 16 when there were dictatorial laws to somehow balance them out. They didn't want to create a commission for the events that happened on November 30. At Euromaidan, I was appointed as the head of the commission. Ms. Bondarenko from the Party of Regions and from the Communists, they always had the majority. So I couldn't start either, not knowing the circumstances. Well, what did I see?
All right, they gave $1 billion.
Who did I go to? To Moscow, it used to be different.
So,
there was no such ban. I was still being invited to television channels. Yes, politics, as you have written here, and I met with someone who was close to...
We won't mention any names.
No, we won't. All right.
And he said that they gave $1 billion.
He said, I say, guys, but yes, you, well, let's say, took the power. The power did nothing, he said.
Gave $1 billion, he says.
Yushchenko, Baluga, Ulyanchenko received it. $1 billion for the three of them. As far as I know, Baluga put it somewhere in a Swiss bank. Then Russia bought that bank, and they won't give the money back. Because, they ask about the origins, so he just put some guy there as an ambassador. That's why. They were always going there on vacation. And then someone gave me Swiss ones because I was interested. When the chalet burned down, it was on New Year's. They got drunk or something and burned it down in Austria. Well, in Switzerland, there is a whole chalet, and part of a large sum is kept in a Swiss bank. I have it. The bank where...
In which one?
He was told, show it.
Show it, show it.
Where from? Show the source, the legal origin of this money.
show it first, then we'll return it.
The Party of Regions gave it.
I understand, and so, according to Hennady M., Yanukovych gave Yushchenko and two other people $1 billion. But according to his version, Yushchenko declared to us how much he wanted to go to Europe, how much he wanted to join the European Union, how much he wanted to join NATO. Nothing was done for this. Yushchenko pointed out the guilty ones. NATO is bad, the European Union is bad, but the carrot kept hanging there. They kept telling us that we were being awaited there. And now the next video from the same Gennady.
Gennady Gennadievich, did you say Putin warned Yanukovych before Maidan that he'd take Crimea and eastern Ukraine?
Yes, that's true.
I warned him.
This is the same person who said when Vladimir Putin arrived, when he came from Vladimir Putin, when they were supposed to go sign the agreement, Vladimir Putin said never. Borders. Russia will not have borders together with the European Union and NATO. You need money, here are $3 billion. That?
What he gave to Yanukovych, those that he gave?
But he threw them there onto the Dutch stock exchange. That he wasn't really ahead. All the Russians say that he couldn't stand Yanukovych.
Yeah, he liked him, he didn't have to.
He had to deal with them, so he said, take 3 billion, go rule over there, but if you even try to sign something, I'm taking it back. That's word for word. The person who said this gathered his closest circle. I'm taking Crimea, I'm taking Donetsk, Luhansk, Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, Odessa, and Zaporizhzhia. He was told this and he came in completely pale, meaning he gathered those around him. There were 4 people there, and he was one of the 4.
Told you about this?
Told me about this, that he was so scared. That he no longer wanted to go to Europe or to NATO or to the association. He didn't care anymore. He was thinking about how to get closer to Putin, but Putin kept him at a distance.
And now let's imagine that everything that Henediem said, honestly to me it sounds very plausible because I have similar information from several other sources. And I had it before, but I refused to believe it, and now I'm starting to believe it. But neither of us has had access to that information. The kind of access the current authorities have, the previous ones didn't. Well, it doesn't matter, they all take turns hanging around. So, it turns out this war could have been avoided. It turns out we knew where the danger was. It turns out we knew that Putin would never allow it. Although some may want it, I personally don't want to be in the European Union. I'll say this separately. I want to join NATO, but they won't accept us. And it's very interesting, especially now what the new NATO Secretary General Rutte is saying. A few weeks ago, he said Ukraine was never expected in NATO and it was impossible, etc. The key countries, you know, Germany, the United States, they always said, no, it's impossible, it won't happen, and you shouldn't even think about it. And it seemed like the issue was closed. And then today, Rutte comes up and says, well, maybe someday Ukraine's membership in NATO is possible. What am I suggesting? Right now we need to accept neutrality, and maybe that's not such a bad option. Study Switzerland, study Austria, I mean armed neutrality. Maybe NATO will happen someday. Then again, look at Sweden and Finland. Let me remind you, Finland was once attacked by the Soviet Union and was forced to give up 10% of its territory. Today, Finland has surpassed Russia many times over in all economic and non-economic indicators. In some respects, people there live much better than in Russia. And now Finland, just like Sweden, joined NATO in just a matter of months. Maybe we will join there someday too, probably when Putin is no longer around. But I definitely don't suggest you wait for that, as Zelensky says. We must live in the moment and ensure both our own and Ukraine's success. Yes, I want to say right away, I really wanted to show you a certain clip here, but I can't include it in this video due to copyright. But you have to see it. It's just an amazing testament to what Zelensky has done. Please subscribe to my Telegram channel, or if you don't want to subscribe, just visit it. The link is under this video in the description. Basically, it's everywhere. Watch this compilation, it's very important. But what you really need to subscribe to is right now. Be sure to like my channel, and after you watch the video, leave a comment about everything you've heard. Now let me tell you how I see it, how it all really happened. A certain plan, let's say by Ursula von der Leyen and, for example, the British intelligence services to weaken Russia. I want to say yes, I'm not against it, and neither are you. But the continuation is that it's at the expense of Ukraine, with the hands and blood of Ukrainians. And what happened was, they couldn't get Yushchenko to go along with it. Yanukovych, according to his program, you remember that day when Yanukovych said, we're going to the European Union, we're going to the European Union. Even the deputies from the Party of Regions thought we were going to the European Union. And then suddenly he refuses to sign the association agreement. Do you recall that famous gesture by Dalia Grybauskaite, where she showed and explained she was alone, with strong Russia and Putin nearby? How can you not believe Gennady M after all that? The one I just showed you? These globalists didn't know how else to drag us in, how to solve their issues at our expense, which I emphasize and have always said, I have nothing against. But not at this price. They don't see us as a full-fledged partner. To them we're just a proxy. And here they pick this fool, Zelensky, who easily signs up for all of this. Check the Telegram channel. I'm telling the truth, as those aren't my words. Let's proceed in order, though there were some separate videos. I'm a staunch opponent of the European Union. We don't need to go there. We don't need the European Union bureaucracy. We don't need European Union taxes. We don't need Brussels deciding who will be president, like, for example, what happens with Romania. We should become like America was back when it was being built on the values that today's America was founded on. We need to do this in Ukraine, in the center of Europe. As for NATO, it's just some kind of bait for officials. Something that someone supposedly believed in somewhere. Poroshenko kept shouting NATO, 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 but now it's clear that's impossible and should be dropped. Poroshenko's crime was adding NATO to the constitution. That should also be evaluated because there should have been a referendum and the people should have been asked before making such decisions in the constitution. Is that why? Is that a point in favor of a referendum? After the war, I published 5 questions, 2 about the European Union and NATO. So do people think we should move in that direction or not? I don't want the war hawks like Ursula von der Leyen to lead Zelensky or any of our presidents around by the ear, or for Paris, Macron, Emmanuel, or other globalists to brainwash them and basically manipulate both them and the situation. I don't want this to happen at our expense. We need reforms, or better yet, to start from scratch and build the right country on the right principles. And we need to become an ally of the United States, not a proxy for Ursula von der Leyen. I hope I explained it to you clearly, although very briefly and concisely. There's no point in dragging this out for an hour. Where did it all start? And how were we gradually led to the situation we find ourselves in now? To war. This is why I always said the war could have been avoided. Of course, Putin is the aggressor. Of course, Putin attacked. But was there any small provocation on our part or not? What do you think? Write in the comments whether we acted wisely, whether we assessed everything correctly. Do you remember what Zelensky said on February 22, 2022? I remember it like it was yesterday. If there is any danger at all, we will tell you, don't worry, go to sleep peacefully. How did it all end? And in Europe, there was silence and calm. Boris Johnson rushed in, disrupted the Istanbul deal, and then rode off to prosperous London. Here you are, covered in blood and under fire. To me, friends, it's all obvious. Thank you for watching the video until the end. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Bye!